Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICT's Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I am your tutor for this afternoon, Tutor Mary Grace, for Philippine Contemporary Arts from the various regions. So, this afternoon, gusto ko ring batiin ng isang mapagpalang hapon ang ating mga viewers from the entire nation, from the different schools division offices in the Philippines. And paunang bati na rin sa ating mga nanonood sa ating live stream kay Mr. Jasper Jason S. Ceballos from Barasana National High School. And syempre sa lahat ng estudyante, grade 12 students in particular, who are watching this online tutorial right now. Okay, so my subject would somehow require me to produce art maybe someday or maybe in one of the episodes, but ngayon pa lang, gusto ko sabihin sa inyo that I actually started one. Okay. There you go. But we'll see what will happen later on with this chosen art form of mine. Okay. So we are already in our week 3 for the third quarter. And for this week, our topic will be Filipino artists' role and their contribution to Philippine contemporary arts. And once again, ang ating pong ginagamit na module is the one from the Schools Division of Negros Oriental. So thank you very much, SDO Negros Oriental, for sharing this module with us today. Tapos, ang ating learning competency na dapat ma-develop after this will be to describe various contemporary art forms and their practices from the various regions in the country, of course. And for this week, okay, at the end of this online tutorial, sana mga grade 12 students and all of you who are watching, you'd be able to describe the contemporary art forms from the different regions in the Philippines, explain the Philippine artists' roles in contemporary arts, and advocate the Filipino artists' contributions to contemporary arts through your own art. So I have my own art. I don't know if I can advocate, but being a Filipino who always tries her best, I will do so later on, okay? So previously in this tutorial, we talked about the various contemporary art forms from the different regions. We also tackled, okay, the Philippine contemporary arts and how they reflect our culture. This time around, okay, we're going to do a little bit of an activity. Okay, let's call it an eye for art. Okay, just an opener for our lesson. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, so I'm going to show you several art-related materials, and then you're going to guess, okay, and type in your answers, okay, after the given time period. So for each art form or for each picture, you are given 10 seconds, okay, to type in your answer. Are you ready? Do you have an eye for art? Let's see. So for this question, the number one question is, who is this legendary artist from Kalinga? Are you ready to see the picture? Okay. There she is, and your timer starts now. Okay, while you're counting these 10 seconds, I would like to say good afternoon to Miss Zarita Lilet Salis Meranan from Catanduanes, Bicol, JB De Vera Andeza, and to Mr. Edwin Cabasag. And ding, 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 time is up. So who is she? All right. Let me see some comments here. Okay, actually, several of our watchers or some of our watchers have already typed in the correct answer. And you are correct, Ma'am Cindy and Sir Matthew. This is Wang Od Ogay, a 102-year-old tattooist from Kalinga, Apayao. Sikat na sikat siya kasi talagang lahat ng gustong magpatato, okay, or merong hobby na magpatato ay pumupunta sa kanya, binibisita siya. Okay, sadly, hindi na ganun ka-extensive yung pwede niyang gawing tattoo, pero nagtatattoo pa rin siya. So, in terms, okay, ang talagang tawag sa kanya sa kanilang lugar ay mambabatok. So, she is already a legend. Okay, next picture. Are you ready? All right. This is our next picture. Who painted this oil on canvas masterpiece called Himagsik? This is Himagsik. All right, type in your answers in 10 seconds, which will start right now. While waiting for the answers, let me give a shout out to Ms. Mary Joy MJ Banal for watching our online tutorial, to Miss Maricar Bautista, good afternoon. Okay, and thank you for being with us today. Okay, there you go. Time is up. Okay, so who is the artist behind this Himagsik titled masterpiece? Do you have an idea? And again, okay, some of our watchers have got the correct answer. This is actually painted by Solen Yusap. Okay, Yusaf, I mean. So this is from her Kundiman collection. What's amazing about these masterpieces from her Kundiman collection is that they are audiovisual. So when you go and visit them, you will see somewhere near the painting or beside the painting, QR codes. Okay, and when you scan them, there will be an audiovisual presentation, okay, of the music and videos that Solen has personally chosen, okay, to magnify the art piece. And let's move on to our last picture. Okay, are you ready for the last picture? Okay, this is the last one. What material is this art installation piece done by Junyi made from? This is the art installation piece. I will not tell you its title because it will give away an answer, okay? Your 10 seconds starts now. All right, so while waiting again, let me do a shout out to Miss Rosalia Janicia Domingo and Miss Cindy Bangs Giyawan. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that one. And time is up. So what do you think is this art installation made from? It's actually made from, okay, imagine if these are actual crawling insects inside your house, no? Parang, ew. But anyway, it's made from wood, okay? And this art installation is called Wood Things. It was done by Junyi or Mr. Lee, Luis Lee Jr., who is from Agusan del Sur, okay? And this masterpiece, is actually one of the modern examples of art installation. It's already considered contemporary art. It is done by, but it is done by Mr. Luis E. Jr., better known as Junyi. Okay? And this one was featured in the 12th Paris Biennial in 1982. There you go. So if you have 3 correct answers, then you definitely have 3 eyes for art. Okay, so imagine if we have 3 eyes actually. Okay, let's proceed to our lesson for the day. For our lesson, I would like you to be able to answer these thought-pondering questions. Okay, so the first one would be to name 3 contemporary art forms from the different regions in the Philippines. Okay, so dapat after this, kaya nyo nang magbigay ng examples ng contemporary art forms na galing sa iba't ibang region in the country. Okay? And then, after choosing those 3 art forms, you're going to explain how they contribute to Philippine contemporary art. Then, you're going to choose a contemporary art form in the visual arts and describe its general characteristics. You're going to choose a contemporary art form in the performing arts this time and describe its general characteristics. And finally, okay, the core of our lesson for today is to answer the question, how can Filipino artists contribute to contemporary arts? There you go. So I hope these pondering questions will be answered, okay, after our online tutorial. So moving on, let us enjoy and feast our eyes on this What You Gonna Watch feature in our lesson for the day. Okay, are you ready? So I'm hoping that this works. All right, there you go. So is that an example of contemporary art form? What do you think is the best answer to that question? Okay, so that video featuring Lord De Vera, I think na daanan natin siya, I believe na daanan natin siya last week sa ating lesson, but last time it was in the field of music, in the field of literature, being a writer. This time around, okay, so as you may all know, siya ay isa ring host dun sa Word of the Lord na parang segment, okay, sa Channel 5. Alright, so not promoting any channel, but just to give you additional information. So is that a form of Philippine contemporary art? Well, if you're going to ask me, my personal opinion is yes. Kasi ang art naman, it's wide range, okay? So anything that you can use as an outlet of your expressions, of your feelings, emotions, of your soul, that can be considered art. All right? So there you go. So that is a video from an episode from the Word of the Lord. Okay, so there you go. So what are the for keepsake concepts that we need to remember for our lesson today? So number 1, we have to identify the characteristics of Philippine contemporary arts. So given all those examples from last week up to the examples I've given earlier, ano kaya yung characteristics ng Philippine contemporary arts? What sets it apart, okay, from the other art forms? So let us discover the answer to that. So Philippine contemporary arts, okay, believed to have started in the late 1960s by the end of modernism art era. And when it comes to characteristics, okay, so the most prominent feature, pinakang highlight talaga ng Philippine contemporary art is that, in fact, it has no distinct feature. It has no single characteristic. All right? So if it's not saying na wala siyang identity. It's just that it's so varied that no distinct features, okay, can be seen or can be observed from Philippine contemporary arts. Okay? And then, more importantly, it is defined by the artist's ability to innovate and bring out a modern masterpiece. So, we mentioned the word innovate. Okay? And when we say the word innovate, okay, uulan dyan yung mga salitang new, fresh, bagong angulo. Okay? When it comes to arts, bagong materials, bagong art form, okay, bagong process, di ba? Sabi natin nung nakaraan, process-based din ang Philippine contemporary arts. Kasi nga, you have to innovate. Not just in the style, in the technique, but even in the materials. Bakit mo kailangan gawin yun? So that as an artist, you'd be able to bring out a modern masterpiece. And there you go. So these are the characteristics of Philippine contemporary arts. Moving on, what is the role of contemporary Filipino artists in the Philippines? So kung ikaw ay isang contemporary Filipino artist, ano yung role mo? Why are you here? Why are you doing all this stuff in contemporary Philippine arts? Okay? What are you here for? Sabi nga. Okay? So, Filipino artists, they play very important role in presenting and educating the public about our history and identity as Filipinos using the medium of contemporary art. Okay? And it just fits together. Kasi di ba, no distinct feature ang contemporary, Philippine contemporary arts. So yung mga artists nun, okay, they express their opinions, their feelings, their soul, their hearts, using varied art forms, using varied materials. Okay? And ganun yung culture nating mga Pilipino, di ba? We are the melting pot of different cultures, not just from the eastern part of the world, but also from the western part. Okay? So many Filipino artists in Philippine contemporary art are doing work. Okay? They are they contrive together, okay, to create a strong market, okay, to create a strong group for Philippine contemporary art. At ano yung na-produce nila? Na-produce nila yung Philippine Contemporary Art Network. Ano yung reason kung ba't nagkaroon ng PCAN? It is to consolidate and harness the resources of Philippine contemporary art. So what is PCAN? Yan, PCAN, Philippine Contemporary Art Network. So it is a recently initiated public institution for contemporary art. Ano yung kanyang focus? Okay, so meron itong threefold focus. First, knowledge production and circulation, exhibition and curatorial analysis, and public engagement and artistic formation. So it's very important to remember na kaya nagkaroon ng PCAN para sa mga Philippine contemporary artists. So, pero ang pinakang role ng PCAN is to coordinate a range of interventions in contemporary art in the Philippines para patuloy itong mag-thrive, patuloy itong mabuhay, patuloy itong mag-improve. And another one is to cast a sharper profile for it on an interlocal and trans-regional scale, even worldwide. Okay, so we have different Philippine contemporary art forms na nakikilala na dito sa Pilipinas and even in a global scale. So it's very important that we keep profile on these artists. Okay, so that's the role of PCAN. And recently, I visited their page. Okay, and this is what you will see inside their page. Okay, so it really exists, and they feature a lot of different Filipino contemporary artists na iba't iba yung medium na ginagamit, from cans, metals, even ice, sand, okay, even doodle and street art. Okay, so there you go. That's PCAN for you. So moving on, let's have a gallery walk. Okay, so this time around, this is the second time that we're going to feature different examples of masterpieces coming from the brilliant minds of Philippine contemporary artists. And this is the first one. This is called Gray Ground. Okay, so Gray Ground is a painting sold for nearly 47 million pesos. And it is painted by Ronald Ventura. So he's a world-renowned contemporary Filipino artist known for his dynamic melding of realism, cartoons, and graffiti. So it's very important na makilala natin siya kasi hindi lang sikat, hindi lang meaningful yung kanyang Gray Ground, but it also sold for a huge amount of money. So when it comes to arts, parang pag mas mahal yung isang art piece, diba, it is proven to be important. It is proven to be very expressive of the artist's soul, of the artist's heart, and that's the way it goes also for Philippine contemporary arts. Okay, so this is Gray Ground for you. Moving on for a gallery walk, let's have the word kubo. Okay, have you ever heard of tiny living? So this is our version of that. This is kubo. Okay, so kubo is created by a group of Philippine architects and engineers. And these are modular living areas, okay, na ginagawa on-site. Ginagawa sa factory, then i-deliver on-site, i-assemble, okay, only with a starting amount of 89,000 pesos. How's that? At the amount of 89,000 pesos, may sarili ka ng kubo modular house. So this is our own version of tiny living. And it takes only 4 hours to build. Now, why feature this here? Because this is also a part of Philippine contemporary art. This is architecture. Okay, and what they use for the material of this kubo is engineered bamboo. Okay, so it's very important that we are exploring, okay, the possibilities of other materials for Philippine architecture. Okay, and moving on, our next part for the gallery walk is a person renowned, okay, in the field of music, okay, known as Maestro Ryan. I believe you're all familiar with Ryan Cayabyab. There you go. So he is a national artist for music, okay? He's also known as Mr. C, a Filipino musician, composer, conductor, okay? He was the executive and artistic director for several years nung San Miguel Foundation for the Performing Arts, okay? And named as National Artist of the Philippines for Music in 2018. So marami ng contribution si Maestro Ryan Cayabyab sa Philippine music, not just in our country, but even in a global scale, okay? So moving on, okay, let's see what we have for street art. So maybe you have seen several videos in YouTube about different street art, and it's very rampant. Kasi may mga empty walls na kailangan lagyan ng decoration, parang free pa nga ito sa government kapag may mga street artists na suddenly ginawa nilang kanilang canvas, yung mga empty walls, okay, that they see while they're walking. Okay? This is an example. Alright, so this one is done by Lee Salvador. Lee Salvador is a visual artist, okay, who hails from the province of Cavite. At miyembro siya nung art group na, sana tumama ako, Cavity Collective. Okay? He had his first solo show at Pocket Universe in Makati in 2013. And this is an example of his street art. So hindi lang yan, marami pang empty walls and public spaces na ginamit ni Lee Salvador and the other members of Cavity Collective, okay, sa province ng Cavite, okay, to be the canvas of their street art. And this is, once again, a new form for Philippine contemporary art. There you go. So this is very important for us to be able to recognize these different art forms when we are listening to music, when we are watching videos, or when we are walking, okay, along the street. Okay, suddenly, ang pinagmamasan mo na pala is yung gawa ng ating mga street artists. Okay, that's very important. So what are the takeaways that we can have from this lesson today? So number one, syempre, as we discussed earlier, the characteristics of Philippine contemporary arts. So what are those characteristics? So enumerating them, we have number one, it has no distinct feature or single characteristic. And number two, it is defined by the artist's ability to innovate and bring out a modern masterpiece. So, gusto ko lang yung commercial ulit na meron din akong modern masterpiece. And I started with the letter M. Okay? So later, I will explain why M, if given the time, if I will be given a time. Okay, there you go. So these are the characteristics of Philippine contemporary arts. Okay, before I move on to the next takeaway, I'd like to greet some people in our live stream. So, shout out po sa mga nanonood, Ma'am Realyn Garcia Caones, okay, and Sir Jojimar de Unit, our guidance counselor here at Quezon Science High School, and of course, all the members, faculty, and students of Quezon Science High School in SDO Quezon. There you go. The next takeaway would be, obviously, all about the role of contemporary Filipino artists. Like what I said earlier, if you are a contemporary Filipino artist, what is your role? Why do you do your kind of art? Okay? And as I've mentioned, this is their role, okay? To present and to educate the public about our history and identity. Kasaysayan at pagkakakilanlan ng bansa natin, ng bawat Pilipino. Okay, syempre, hindi lang through painting, hindi lang through music, but through across all our art forms that are available for every artist. Okay, today, tomorrow, and in the near future. Okay, so moving on. Task number 4 in our module says that you have to provide your own art. Okay, so own your art is the title of this task. What you're going to do, okay, for you out there, sa lahat ng grade 12 students who are watching this, I hope you find time to do this because you're going to make your own contemporary art. But you need to have a mission why you're going to do it. And your mission is to show what changes you would suggest to a modern day issue in our society. Okay, there you go. So you're going to create your own contemporary art, okay, that will show the changes that you'd like to happen to our society. Okay, so for this, probably you can give yourself around an hour to a week if you're not really into art. But pag sinabing art kasi, huwag kayong malak sa idea na magpe-painting kayo or mag-i-sketch kayo. There are several art forms that you can use to express yourself, okay, using contemporary art. Okay, as materials as simple as rocks, okay, can do its job, diba? So there you go. This is your challenge, okay, to make your own contemporary art. And with that, I would like to now feature the contemporary art that I have made for all of you guys. So I started with the letter M. Okay, I hope that this can be seen because I really wanted it to be live. Okay, and then this is what I finished because this is the kind of art that I have started doing a few years back, but due to, I don't know, procrastination and everything, I failed to be really good at it. But I'm starting again for the sake of the learners out there who'd like to try their own art form, but can't find the time or the courage to do so. So this is doodle art, and this is my masterpiece for the day. Let's say in a matter of 40 minutes to 1 hour. There you go. So I hope one day after this class, you can post your own contemporary artworks, okay, that would suggest a modern day issue in our society. Okay, so with that, gusto ko munang mag-shout out sa ating mga nanonood pa rin hanggang ngayon. Shout out po kay Mr. or Miss Edtech Miranda and Calmari Cara. Good afternoon po. Maricar Duzal pala from Talaingod, Davao del Norte. Thank you very much for being here with me today in our online tutorial. Okay, so when you produce your artwork, this will be the visual art rubric that will be used so that it will be graded, let's say, by your parents or by your audience, okay, whoever you want your artwork to be evaluated by. Okay, so it's now time for our brain exercise. I know it's corny, but this is quiz time, okay? So, but this time around, we're going to have true or false version of a quiz. And this is the first question. Are you ready? You can type your answers in a matter of, I believe, 5 seconds will do. Okay, so the first question is, Philippine contemporary arts has a variety of well-defined characteristics. Again, Philippine contemporary arts has a variety of well-defined characteristics. Your 5 seconds starts now. There you go. And good afternoon also to, I mentioned earlier, Ma'am Cindy, Ma'am Mary Joy. Thank you for watching. And time is up. What's your answer? Okay, it should be false. Because as we have mentioned earlier, it has no single characteristic. It has no single defined or distinct feature. Okay? So very much, very varied ang characteristic niya, pero hindi rin defined. Kasi it has different forms, it has different media. Okay? Moving on, question number 2. Oh, we have answers in the chat box, but our answer is false. Okay, based on what we have discussed earlier. Question number 2, Philippine contemporary arts ended after the modernism art era. Philippine contemporary arts ended after the modernism art era. Okay, 5 seconds, go. Okay, good afternoon, Ma'am Jeanette Dulay and Mr. Vincent Michael Camilla for being with us today. Thank you very much. The answer to this question is false, okay? Because it started after the modernism art era. Okay, so if it ended back then in 1960, then we will not be discussing it today. That's common sense. But anyway, the answer is false. Okay, thank you for answering Sir JB De Vera Andeza and Ma'am Raylene Garcia Caones. And good afternoon, and thank you for watching to my Ma'am Carla Maridi Carandang. Starstruck daw ko bigla. Okay, thank you very much for watching the online tutorial. Okay, moving on to the last question. Performing arts, okay, forgive the number, and art installations also belong to Philippine contemporary arts. Performing arts and art installations also belong to Philippine contemporary arts. Is it true or false? 5 seconds, now. And there you go, time is up. Okay, so we have answers in our chat box and most of them got it correctly because it is true. So like what I said, very much varied yung art forms, pero no single distinct characteristic. I mean, kung 1,000 art forms yan, how can you define its characteristic with just one word or with just one feature, diba? It's impossible to do that, okay? So, performing arts and art installations, ito yung mga sabihin na natin, yung art installations especially, kasi mga baby pa sa Philippine contemporary arts, but it is already established art form kasi meron na rin ito sa mga exhibits, not only in our country, but also abroad. Okay, so there you go. And that ends our quiz time, okay, for this lesson. So I hope you learned something from our lesson. And with that, I'd like to leave you with a quote-unquote message coming from one of my favorite painters in the country. And kaya ko siya favorite kasi ang paborito niya ay isa sa mga canvas, sabihin na natin, na ginagamit niya are Hermes bags. Okay, I know you have an idea when I mentioned that. Okay, she uses Hermes bags as canvas ng kanyang mga masterpieces. Okay, so sabi niya, as I showed the world my art, my heart, I wasn't just an actress. I was actually an artist. And that was my transformation. Okay, and these words come from none other than Love Marie Umpauco Escudero. Okay, so ayan, in the picture you can see she is holding one of her masterpieces, and that is also an Hermes bag. Okay, there you go. So this has been a very fruitful afternoon with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed doing this with me as we are going to see each other again next week, same time, for Philippine Contemporary Arts from the various regions. And my letter M is for make, because you have to make everything work for you in all its positivity. Okay, and that's my art form for you, and this is my lesson for the day. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. So remember tomorrow, don't forget to be with us for our Wednesday morning habit. Bye-bye!
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Filipino. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippine social media accounts. Paalam!